I couldn't identify one of these
Oh,
plants.
sure. So you were a real beginner gardener.
Oh,
Yeah.
super beginner gardener.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
real beginner gardener.
Hey, everybody. Today we're here in Chicago, Illinois with Deronis Cooper.
Hello.
Good to meet you. Thanks for having us.
Mhm.
And he has a beautiful garden here and full of foliage. And it's like going on vacation when you walk in here. You wouldn't think you were in the middle of the city.
It's very nice of you to say, but I did try to create that effect.
Yeah, you did. And you did a great job.
Thank you.
So, but you didn't, I mean, you've been at this for quite a while. How did you get started?
So when I was a kid, I used to help my grandmother in her garden. I have to be honest, any 13, 14-year-old, I didn't have any idea that I would do anything like this.
Yeah.
And her garden was a vegetable garden. So it was more of a chore, but I always hung around my grandmother and helped her out.
Yeah.
It seemed like I was digging up this garden at the hottest time of the summer every year. So one thing about it, we did have plants on our front porch. And eventually, of course, years later, I bought my own home. And even though the home was new, it just was boring.
Yeah.
And thank God Chicago has a lot of planters that you see in the summertime downtown.
Yeah.
And I began to take a lot of photos of stuff because back then I couldn't identify one of these plants.
Sure. So you were a real beginner gardener.
Oh, super beginner gardener.
Yeah.
Like real beginner gardener.
How did you find the plants that you wanted? And
so I would take a lot of photos of things that I liked because
good
I mean,
idea.
Just like anything else, if you don't know what it is, take photos of it.
Yeah.
And I had a friend who's a paramedic and, you know, I'm a policeman.
Yeah.
So I started asking her because she was a master gardener and she made it, I mean, she knew about zones and everything. And that was even too complicated.
Yeah.
I'm like, slow everything down.
Yeah.
What survives in the sun? What survives in the shade?
Yeah, good beginning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that kind of helped me out.
Sure.
And then after a couple years of watching her do 4 of my planters, I then tried to take, you know, dip out in the water a little bit, and I started on my own. Still, when I would go to garden centers, which at the time, the only place I knew were big box stores.
Oh, sure.
So just from learning from her, I learned where garden centers were, and I would show those pictures to the people that worked there.
Oh, yeah, good idea.
And that's what really, I mean, made me take off.
Yeah.
Because it at least allowed me to identify what plants I liked.
Yeah.
You know, I did have consistency of what I liked. I just couldn't identify it.
Sure. And and then you learned some more and some more. So
absolutely.
What were those initial containers like?
The initial containers always still, I love for my thrillers, I love elephant ears.
Oh yeah.
So they had elephant ears, they had the king tut papyrus, and they had a ton of sweet potato vines.
Oh yeah.
But it wasn't much variety. It was the green and purple, basically what I get from Home Depot.
Sure.
And the first couple of years, even on my page, if you look back in 2015 and 16, you saw a lot of gorgeous foliage, but it was the same color.
Oh yeah, sure.
In the beginning, I used a lot of caladiums.
I
used, of course, sweet potato vines. Those are my favorite.
Yeah.
And I used celosias. However, I learned over time, caladiums I like because they look like baby elephant ears.
Yeah, they are pretty cute.
And they had a lot of different colors, but they didn't get big.
Right.
And then the celosias were gorgeous. They had the texture that I love, but then the sun bleached the color.
Oh, sure.
So over time, it was like, I really didn't like them. And that's when I found out about coleus.
Coleus. Yes,
and as you can see, my garden has coleus everywhere.
Have a lot of great coleus.
The thing that I love about them, they have so many different varieties.
Yes.
You know, it can look like you're doing something different, but it's the same
plant.
Yeah,
there is such variety. So many different colors and leaf shapes, and you get a lot of interest in just one spot.
Yeah, like when you look in here, you see exactly what I said. You have a lot of coleus, you have a lot of sweet potato vines. You look at all of the different variety, you have a lot of different color, but it's still the same 2 plants.
Yeah.
You know, so in this bed, this is an actual bed. This is an entire garden bed. So it's a raised bed. Everything that's kind of lower is planted in the ground.
Okay.
This is a planter. This is a planter, and then it's one more here.
Oh, wow.
So this is where I do my layering effect. So my thriller filler spiller, my thrillers here are my elephant ears, which are these, my bananas. I have king tut papyrus back there. And I also put my mahogany hibiscus.
Okay.
Then what happens is my fillers are gonna always be my coleus.
Okay.
So I have coleus in here and everything. And then the spillers from here still will be sweet potato vines. But when you plant in the bed, I plant all of my fillers as coleus.
Okay.
They basically connect with the spillers.
Yeah, go in between.
Exactly. And it kind of creates the layering effect. And then on the, really on the edge of everything, it's kind of like a waterfall, and I do
Yeah.
my sweet potato vines.
Yeah.
You see some spill out a little more than others,
Yeah,
but
that's
they
okay.
will. The laces won't spill out as far, but they
Right.
still will give
They're
you
a little more
the
moundy.
effect. And as you see, it's so many different varieties like
Yeah.
these.
Yeah, that's another plant like the coleus. Not as diverse as the coleus, but there's still like different shapes. And,
Oh, absolutely.
And
then
colors.
they keep the gorgeous color. No matter how bright the sun is, the sun doesn't bleach any of this. So if you're going to see this in the beginning of June, you're going to see this all the way in.
Because this is facing west, right?
Yes.
So that's a lot of hot sun.
That's just a lot of hot sun. You can even feel it on the wall when it gets really, really hot out here. But all that it does is just make this thrive. As long as I water it, it thrives.
It looks like, and I love how the castor bean has kind of come out. How did that come about?
So this was funny. I had to go out of town for work back, I believe, like in the middle of June. And when I came home, no, it was the middle of July. When I came home, I think the wind blew the castor bean down a little bit.
Yeah.
So by me being gone, and we had the sprinklers going and everything. By the time I got here, the castor bean had already started turning and turning upward. So I just left it there.
I know it looks really good.
And it did it to both of them.
Yeah.
So by the time, I mean, it was no point in me pulling them up because then the leaves would have been facing back there.
Right.
So I just left them there.
Yeah, I think they look really good.
I always tell people I let my plants do what they want.
Yeah.
And they kind of did what they want.
And they still look good. That's great. I see that some of the coleus you have over here are also over here. Can we go take a look at those?
Absolutely.
So these coleus are just looking fabulous. How did you, is this another example of your layered effect?
Yes. So when I built the retaining wall over here and I built that bed, then one thing about me, I'm like, this fence was kind of boring. So I wanted to see, could I create the fence to compete with the bed?
Yeah.
And that was like just something I created to try to make the garden more fun.
Yeah.
So what I did was create different heights of plants.
Okay.
So I drilled, you can see I drilled planters into the top of the fence.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I sat at every fence post, I sat pretty tall. These are Crescent Garden planters. They're plastic. I love them because they're insulated.
Okay.
And then I also put a smaller planter down here.
Okay.
So again, you have the height of these, which has still my thriller, filler, spiller.
Yeah.
So my thrillers in these are my fountain grasses with the cattails.
Okay.
Fillers are still going to be my coleus.
Right.
Spillers are going to be my sweet potato vine.
Sure.
It's the exact same thing in every planter.
Yeah.
But in this planter, because it's larger and taller, you have my elephant ears, my king tuts, which are here, my bananas.
Great.
My fillers are going to always be my coleus again. And then you have my sweet potato vines that come down.
They look really good.
Now, you have, once again, a lower pot, smaller thriller, but it's still elephant ears. And now the transition happens where these spillers are kind of connecting with these fillers that go down. So it's kind of, if you look at it, it almost looks like a waterfall of plants.
It does. It just comes right on down to
I tried to have it where it can compete with both sides of the yard. So if you're on one side, you're kind of like,
Yeah.
And then you go to the other side, and believe it or not, I can fall in. I'm always kind of at a tie. This year, from back there, I kind of like this side a little bit more. But, I mean, depending on where you're sitting in the yard or standing in the yard, it's kind of tough.
Really
You'll go back and forth on which side you like.
And this is like a standard size privacy fence, like maybe
it's a
6
6
feet.
foot
And then you have another, I don't know, foot or two from your box.
So I mean, when these go above it, I mean, these can go another 4 feet above.
That's really tall.
If the wind allows them to get that tall.
Right.
It kind of, you saw, it knocked down one of my taller elephant ears earlier. So
that was incredible.
Yeah.
Well, the colors, and then the colors coordinate so beautifully. So you really have this unified look to you.
Exactly. And that's the one thing that I try to do is just make sure that I get as many vibrant colors out here. I want that myriad of color to kind of carry throughout the yard. You know, one thing about coleus, they can do well in the shade. They can do well in the sun. It does not, the pigment never gets bleached by the sun.
It does not. These have been really good for you, I can tell.
Yes.
So, and now I think you've gone even higher in the back. Maybe we can go look at some of that too, in the vertical gardening. Deronis, can you explain a little bit about what, because I don't think anybody can tell what this is. It's so beautifully covered with plants.
So I call it the wall. It's kind of like a wall of plants. However, again, I talk about layering all the time, and it's multi-layers of plants.
Yeah.
So up in there, which is here,
Yeah.
That's an over-the-rail planter. So this is a staircase.
Okay.
To my fire escape.
All right.
So at the landing, there's rails there.
Okay.
At the top of the rails are, again, similar to the top of the fence. My thriller just for the over-the-rail planters are just my fountain grasses.
Right.
My fillers are still going to be coleus. Spillers are going to be my sweet potato vines.
Yeah.
Then here at the base, where the landing is, where the feet are, I have 2 more planters here.
Okay.
And again, I was able to squeeze something bigger, so I put an elephant ear.
Great.
Put a quarter line in here. My fillers are still going to be my coleus.
Right.
My spillers are obviously my sweet potato vines. It used to be some petunias in here. Sweet potato vines squeeze them out. They kind of
ate them up.
Well, it's a few over here, but yeah, the sweet potato vines typically squeeze them out.
Yeah.
Then I have this thing that's new this year, railscapes, because now at this point the staircase is going down.
Oh, because that's the angle part of it.
So I have a railscape in here with 1 planter, and I have another one there. So it kind of at least gives me that transition there.
Okay.
So I actually have another row of planters here that are about 2.5 feet high.
Okay.
And I have 4 individual planters in here. So again, now the job of these are to meet with this.
Okay.
So you want that marriage of the spillers from here to meet the thrillers from here.
Yeah.
And then the spillers go down.
Yeah.
And then from up there, you have approximately 12 feet of plants.
That's great.
From top to bottom. And even here, to kind of help with the transition around the corner, all this is a shelving unit with 3 24-inch planters.
Great.
All that I do is just fill them out. You see I have my, again, I use the exact same process. These are my thrillers with my fountain grasses.
Yeah.
You see my coleus are in there.
Yeah.
And then the marriage of the sweet potato vines going all the way down.
So it's great. You take this, what would have been just sort of an empty space, and now you got this beautiful green wall.
And not only that, what you guys don't realize is, because in every garden, you need storage, right?
Oh, yeah.
All of my liners and everything go back
in.
So
perfect.
Exactly.
That's
so I
great.
cover everything.
Very good.
So that's where my extra pots and everything
are. This is such a nice little nook where you can just sit and relax.
Exactly. So this is where I typically hang out back here. And
great.
Kind of enjoy myself. And it's like a hidden space within a very open garden.
Yeah. And then I like your little corner over here. You were telling me about that. So Deronis, how do you bring your layered effect all the way around to the other side of the patio?
So one thing about my garden, I don't like holes in the garden. So wherever I see planters starting to fill out, if there's a hole, I try to fill it somehow. So originally, just like the other taller crescent garden planter along the fence, there's one and there's one. So there was kind of a hole of foliage in here. So I put a black one there. The one thing that I like about black, you know, I use a lot of colors.
Yeah.
In the shaded areas, the black kind of disappears.
Sure.
And all you get to see are the plants.
Yeah.
So this is one of my favorite transitions in the garden this year.
Oh, yeah.
Just because this is a hard corner. If you go to that corner, it's probably 5 to 6 feet behind us.
Wow. Yeah.
But look how the marriage of just everything transitioning around.
Yeah.
And it's because you have 1, 2, 3. There's a 4th planter there. This is the 5th one here.
Yeah.
And then some of this box here kind of helps the transition.
Yeah.
So this transition turns all the way around.
Yeah.
I can't even reach every planter to water. So I just have to let the rainfall effect do its job. And it's still doing its job.
Yeah, it really
But I just love how this
out. It's just like flowing, and then it has this nice curve that goes around.
Yes, it has such a... Now, honestly, this is why I always tell people, I can sit in line and say, oh yeah, I knew what I was doing. Yeah. But this one didn't curve the exact same way. So I want to make sure that next year I try the exact same effect.
It inspired you to...
Exactly.
Yeah. And this little Cleome looks so, it's like kind of nice because it's shadier.
Yes, this was a massive one. This was like a 3-gallon one. So,
oh, wow. So cool. Got
this was the biggest one I'd ever seen. So I bought 4.
Nice. And it's with your favorite plant. You said Perilla's your favorite.
Oh my God. These Perillas are awesome because, so I actually always thought Perillas were coleus.
Me too. Yeah. Yeah.
And once I realized they weren't coleus, it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
Perillas get really, really big.
They do,
again, sun or shade, it doesn't matter.
Right.
They get really, really big. And you see, I mean, this thing is probably upwards of 3 feet.
It is.
Very
big.
You even have sweet potato vine growing around it. And you see how strong it is.
Yeah. It's a nice big plant. Deronis, there was no doubt where the garden was when we drove by initially. This is a beautiful container. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes. So originally for the last 10 years, it was 1 barrel here, a wine barrel. That barrel began to disintegrate. So this year, of course, because I'm Deronis, I went from 1 barrel and put 2 here. So it's 2 wine barrels here. And then I have 2 massive bananas. These started out at about 7 feet tall.
Wow.
I still use the exact same Thriller Filler Spiller. I have my King Tuts in there. There's one popping out there. I have my elephant ears. And then I have you can kind of see the mahogany hibiscus in the back.
Oh, yeah.
You see my coleus. I have some cleome in here as my fillers. And if you could believe it, this is going to blow you away. All of this is 2 sweet potato vines.
Wow, look at that.
I have one that started over here. I have one that started over there.
Yeah.
And it mirrors around.
It's
this is 2 sweet
coming
potato
right out here. It's just wonderful.
I have petunias in here. They were very, very vibrant and pink a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
The sweet potato vines squeezed them out. Yeah.
Well, it looks wonderful.
Thank you so much. This is one of my pride and joys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see why.
Exactly.
This is such a nice little seating area. It's so sheltered, and you have some nice privacy from this. I mean, you can't even tell the streets on the other side.
True.
Was it always that way? Has it always been this way, or?
No. Originally, before I put these planters down here, I used to actually want people to see into the yard to see the rest of the garden.
Sure.
Then once I put these planters down here, the height kind of gave me a lot more privacy, and I started added seating. Once I added the seating, I mean, sitting here, I was like, man, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
What was funny was I didn't realize it was as private because I could see people walking by. Didn't realize they couldn't see me until one of my friends walked by and didn't speak, and I thought he was being rude. Until I later realized, wait a minute, you can't see me sitting here. My sidewalk is right here.
Yeah.
But if you're just sitting here, reading a book, having a glass of lemonade or whatever, and just relaxing, you're relaxing in plain sight.
I know,
but in theory, they can't see us.
Never guessed the sidewalk was so close.
No.
That's great.
No.
And it's kind of sheltered too, because you've got the tree and then the bananas and the other plants over you.
So this year, I definitely planned it that way. I put 9-foot palms out there with the bananas that I knew would create quite a bit of height.
Yeah.
So it gives us, one, a lot of shade, shelter, and you can just sit here and relax. I might put a bench up here, or I have friends sitting back there, and it's just a cool little gathering spot.
It is. It really is.
Yeah, it's fun.
Well, thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
This has been so great. It's fun.
Well, I'm happy you guys decided to stop by. I mean, it's always nice to show people that you can have a lot of different experiences in the garden. And how therapeutic it can become.
Oh, for sure.
I always say that gardening is the best form of therapy that money can buy.
For sure.
That's not covered by insurance.